I watch a lot of YouTube videos. Vlogs, challenges, educational videos, and even podcasts. But lately, there's one question I keep coming back to. Why is every YouTube video sponsored now?
Download Raid using the link in the description.
Install Honey.
Next all apply the eSIM company.
Go to musicals.com right now.
I'm so used to it at this point that I automatically skip ahead when I hear them coming. But it wasn't always like this. Because back when I was a kid, YouTube was about expression. People shared whatever random thoughts they had through their webcam, straight to the internet. It was fun and casual and unique, because it was brand new. There wasn't any structure or business around it yet. But over the years, YouTube's gotten much bigger and better and more professional. And that's why I'm sitting right here in this studio to film this video for you. I could be in some random dark alley, but that seems inappropriate. It's safe to say that YouTube's changed. But lately, now that some of these sponsored brands are getting exposed online, I knew I had to go deeper. So in this video, I'm gonna share everything I learned. From talking to a sponsorship expert, to looking at how much creators are getting paid, and even deep diving the sponsorship industry. Now, along the way, I think I figured out why every creator is accepting sponsorships. And I honestly think that sponsorships are only gonna get bigger in the future. But first, we have to go back to the beginning. I started this adventure by spending an hour or so watching a ton of sponsored segments. You know, the parts you normally skip. And quickly, I started noticing some patterns. Here's what I'm seeing. This is the sponsor playbook. Brand segments all start off with a problem, one that's common to everyone. From invasive ads to anxiety or even the time it takes to cook a meal. They remind you how bad this problem is for your life and all the trouble it causes for you. But wait, there's a product that solves every single problem, every single one of your problems. And it has extra features that will make your life oh so amazing. But there's results. I mean, the creator had the same problems you did until they started using this sponsored product. It changed their lives. It solved their problems. It saved them time. So it only makes sense that they help you out and give you a special discount code so you can try it out risk-free. I mean, you can't tell me you haven't seen this before. Feels like every creator follows this formula. Until recently, that is, because sponsorships are evolving. Creators know that we're skipping ahead and not watching the ads, which isn't good for their conversions. So they've started integrating them a little bit differently. I actually saw this in my research too. Check this one out. In this video, Max integrates his sponsor naturally, blending them into the content to make it flow better. This is actually becoming the norm too. Mr. Beast does it in nearly every single video he posts. And Eric did it in this video where he threw around his phone to show how strong his sponsored phone case was. Basically, the formula is changing. But that opens up so many more questions for me. For nearly a week, I went hunting, searching for any details or tips or clues that I could find. But this industry is filled with secrecy and NDAs, so I could barely find anything at all. Until I eventually came across this leaked court document from Mr. Beast. Okay, so this right here is a pitch deck. Creators use documents like these to sell brands on working with them. Now this one specifically is custom made for GM, you know, the major car company, to try and convince them to pay for a brand placement in a Mr. Beast video.
We talk to these like marketers and they're just like, you know, I only get X amount of money a quarter to sponsor YouTubers with. And I'm like, well, for one video, it costs more than that.
So Mr. Beast charges more than any other creator on the platform. I think that's obvious. He's the biggest creator on the platform. So let's take a closer look inside to see what he's doing with this pitch deck right here. Now, some of the stuff you might expect to see. Data on Mr. Beast's performance, brands he's worked with, all of that. Next, it talks about why working with Mr. Beast would propel GM to the top spot in EV sales. That's a really bold claim, but I don't think it's unfounded, because they include data on GM's company metrics. And then look at this. This is a bit of gold hidden in between these sheets. Mr. Beast's team paints a picture of the audience that watches his videos and why this investment is the perfect fit. because GM would be investing in their next 100 million customers and sharing their brand with them early on, so that when they go to buy their first car, they already have the recognition of the GM name from Mr. Beast. That's crazy, dude. Like, this is so wild. It also paints a picture of how powerful Mr. Beast's recommendations are. His personal words can sway hundreds of millions of people, and they'll optimize the integration so that the viewers can't help but to watch. The amount of effort and data in this pitch right here is insane to me. It's crazy, and it shows just how important this is to Mr. Beast's team. But that still leaves us with some gray area. I mean, do these even work for the brands? Like, are they making their money back from these investments? That's my next question. So I started sending emails to try and learn more. I ended up hearing back from Justin, who's worked on both sides of brand partnerships, and he's helped creators to earn millions from brand deals. Here's what I'm wondering. These brands are paying a lot of money to access these creators. Why do they pay that money? What is the benefit for them?
If they want to run a campaign and they need some actually advertising creative to, upload onto Facebook or Instagram or whatever, if they didn't hire you as a creator, they would have to go out there and hire probably a production company, actors and actresses to star in this content, editors to edit the content. And then when they finish editing the content, they have to pay Facebook and Instagram and YouTube to run this ad. And so you as a creator, I call it, you're kind of like a production company in a box.
This is how advertising's been done for over 100 years. But as it got more popular, it also got more expensive, and government regulations limited what advertisers could say and do. So companies started looking for a new way to get that same promotion. Check this out. This is an NBA basketball court in the 80s. Meanwhile, this is that same team's court now in 2025. Look at all those sponsors. In the 80s and 90s, sponsorships became a popular new way to advertise. And by tying your company's name to a team, a stadium, a building, an event, or a show, you got a ton of new attention without having to produce the ad. So when YouTube started getting popular, these advertisers saw an opportunity.
You as a creator, I call it, you're kind of like a production company in a box. You do all of those things in one. You're the creative team, you're the production team, you market the content, and guess what? You also have a distribution channel.
When creators take on sponsorships, they're giving brands the whole package, but they also unlock something that advertising's never been able to give before: trust. Creators spend years building up the trust of their audience as they grow. So eventually, when they share a product with their audience, it's like a friend making a recommendation. The pitch deck that I found even touches on this a little bit. Mr. Beast serves as a trusted voice, helping translate brand messages into digestible concepts.
Creators have kind of their finger on what's popular in the kind of cultural zeitgeist, and it's increasingly a wise decision to invest money in creators versus other traditional old hat marketing techniques.
Sponsorships trade on trust. That trust is what makes these sponsorships so profitable. Not to mention that it also saves them on the creative strategy and production costs too. Okay, but to a certain extent, doesn't adding a brand placement take away some creativity from the video? There has to be some sort of incentive. I decided to ask Justin that. For creators who are maybe like worried about the creative aspect, that the sponsors might affect the creativity of the YouTube videos and the message that they're delivering, do you think that does play a factor?
I mean, you have to involve your audience in the conversation about why you're taking sponsorships. It's not just to line your pockets. Doing these partnerships allows me to continue to bring you amazing content on an ongoing basis for free. The reason I'm doing sponsorships, I'm not like getting, super rich here. It's because, hey, having an editor costs money. Hey, it would be great to pay my rent. It'd be great to not eat ramen. Like, it's actually okay to derive a livelihood from the content that you're creating as a YouTuber. And in fact, leaning into that and ensuring that your audience understands why you're doing it.
Wait, that's a lead. YouTube doesn't pay enough for creators to sustain themselves. With that, I started collecting data to try and figure out if sponsorships were actually worth it, and if they did provide an incentive over YouTube's payments alone. Okay, let's start by looking at what YouTube pays on its own. YouTube uses a metric called RPM, which is the dollar amount you make per 1,000 views on a video. So if your RPM is $1 and you get 100,000 views, you get $100. Now, that RPM number depends on a ton of different factors. Personally, for me, I make anywhere from $6 to $11 per 1,000 views on these videos. Gaming creators, on the other hand, usually tend to be on the lower end of that range, somewhere around $2 to $6, and business and finance content is usually way higher, somewhere from like $15 to $100 depending on the time of year. So again, let's say you're averaging 100,000 views a video, that's anywhere from $200 to $10,000 a video. So with that in mind, let's compare that to sponsorships. Using the data that I found from a survey of 15 creators, here's what the view to income ratio looks like. Sponsors typically pay out anywhere from $30 to $150 per 1,000 views, although these are usually flat rates, so if the video underperforms, you're still gonna make that money. So using our last example, that's a guaranteed extra $3,000 to $15,000 per upload, which means you can double or triple your income just by adding a sponsor to your video for a minute or less.
A lot of YouTubers come up and, they start making AdSense revenue, right? Which feels like a really awesome way to make money, right? You get to make videos that you really love, and then YouTube sends you a paycheck every month. Pretty sweet, right? Similarly, sponsorships fits that bill as well. This is the type of thing where you can collaborate with a sponsor, you can talk about them in your video, and you get paid. And so you have to think, as a creator, you have an organic distribution channel, a direct line to a huge pool of prospective customers for that brand. And so you absolutely have to be charging them for that privilege. That's why sponsorships plays, if you look at pretty much any study out there, it's anywhere from 60 to 70+% of most YouTubers' income is sponsorships. A coaching client of mine named Heidi, she was doing $0 in sponsorship last year, and now she's going to be doing $50,000 in sponsorship just this year. I think this is why you're seeing why sponsorships are so prevalent on YouTube.
After sitting with this for a while, everything was clicking into place. Imagine that you're a creator, right? Trying to make it on YouTube. You spend many, many late nights coming up with ideas, writing videos, filming, and editing them together, trying to keep up with the trends and make your next video in time, all to make a tiny bit of money. Meanwhile, you look at your creator friends and they're all hiring editors and writers and thumbnail designers. So you're like, what the hell? I want that. But you're stuck, sitting behind the computer wondering where this supposed YouTube dream is. Until one night when you get an email from a brand who's looking to sponsor your video. You see their offer and realize it's thousands of dollars, way more than you'd ever make from YouTube ads alone. And suddenly, you see the pathway. The truth is, creators have a ton of incentive to take on these sponsorships. They give creators money to improve their videos, invest into content teams, and develop a business, helping them to make better videos for their audience, while the brands also get solid conversions on their products. Which is great, but there's a big hole in this argument that we haven't talked about yet. You just can't talk about YouTube sponsorships and all the good that they do for the world without talking about the downsides. Over the last few years, a disturbing pattern has started to pop up, where companies are taking advantage of the trust that creators have built to promote bad or even flat out dangerous products. First, there's Honey, which was exposed a few weeks back after almost 10 years of sponsoring videos. Or look at BetterHelp, which was claiming to provide safe therapy, all while selling your data to Facebook. Or even FTX, which blatantly stole billions from customers' funds. So as much as for creators there's a huge incentive, these sponsorships need to be taken seriously. With that said, how can you make sure that sponsorships are being done safely? First things first, if you're a creator, you should always be vetting every company that wants to sponsor your videos. You can do this by looking into their business, speaking with their customers, reading reviews, and checking for any major news stories. And by the way, if you're working with a partner manager, make sure to do your own due diligence too. Oh, and by the way, remember that if you get an email that sounds too good to be true, it definitely is. If you're a viewer, Just remember how valuable your trust actually is. When you hear about a product that catches your interest, start asking more questions. Don't just blindly trust in the creators that you watch. Not that you do, but it's worth saying anyways. Before buying, figure out what the offer actually is and whether you're gonna get what you expected. And remember that if there's a lot being offered for free, there's probably something going on behind the scenes. The reason that so many videos are sponsored is because they're too important to a creator's business to pass them up. Let's face it, these ads aren't going anywhere anytime soon. So trust your instincts and make sure to always do right by your audience if you're a creator. Real quick, I want to say thank you to Justin for helping out with this video. So helpful, so much good information. If you want to learn more, he's got a book that just came out, so check it out.
If you are someone who's curious about the creator economy, or maybe you're a creator and you're interested in, hey, what would it look like to actually make more money working with sponsors, you can go to sponsormagnet.com.
But if you like this video, guess what? I got more where that came from. So be sure to subscribe down below and then check out this video right here about why drama creators are making millions from Mr. Beast.